July the 27th, 2023. Guys, you're looking at some major heat problems across the U.S. Now, normally you see these type of temps along the Gulf Coast, where we've seen them, and of course in California, the South part, Arizona, New Mexico. But right now, these heat warnings are much further north than normal. Now, in the orange, you've got heat advisories. In the purple areas, you've got excessive heat warnings, and that's where we were seeing the terrible temperatures a few weeks ago here in the South. Remember, I told you the real feel got up to about 132 degrees here one day, and the temperature was a little over 100, but adding in the suppressive humidity that we have, it was really tough, guys. We had to keep all the pets inside, everything like that. But this is not where we normally see that, and especially here. You've got this purple area in the New Jersey, Delaware, southeastern Pennsylvania, and eastern Maryland area. And you may have some power grid problems there today because of this. Again, July may go down as the hottest month in modern recorded history. And that's around the planet. You're seeing fires all over the northern hemisphere. Now, looking at the national satellite images, guys, you've got clouds over that northeastern area, but not a lot of moisture involved with that. Now, Florida, it's a little different picture here. These are the remnants of a system that the National Hurricane Center quit watching yesterday, I think it was. And so it's not a tropical system, but it's the remnants of one. So you're going to get some cooling rain, some winds, possibly some waves. Watch for rip currents and things like that, thunderstorms popping up. But it's better than the heat that we've been dealing with, I can tell you that right now. And once you see the grid situation in the Northeast, you'll understand why. Now, with the heat index yesterday, guys, here in central Mississippi, we were reaching 112, and the humidity was lower, though, than the 99% that we were seeing earlier in the month during those terrible, terrible days. And you can see where you've got some moisture coming in Florida. And in the Northeast, guys, hopefully that's going to help you out. But your grid system there that covers, it's actually one of the largest grid systems anywhere, is saying that you're going to peak out just under their maximum, which could mean blackouts. Now, this article came out this morning, but it's talking about the power grid and the announcements that came out of PJM Interconnection LLC last night. It says, largest U.S. power grid declares emergency alert amid scorching heat. A heat wave continues to blast the Midwest, Northeast, and South through the end of the work week, forcing the largest U.S. grid operator to declare a level 1 emergency for Thursday as tens of millions of people crank up air conditioners to escape scorching temperatures as summer in the northern hemisphere peaks. Guys, during those 2 weeks, it was rough here, and that's what I did. I just got out of the hospital a couple of weeks. There was nothing I could do, but I prayed for rain just to give us some type of break. It says on Wednesday evening, PJM Interconnection LLC declared an energy alert level 1 in 13 states that stretch from Illinois to New Jersey with over 65 million customers. PJM is concerned about maintaining adequate power reserves today as power demand is set to soar because of the air conditioners. You can't help it. It expects demand to reach 153,286 megawatts as of 1700 Eastern Time. That's 5 o'clock, and has about 186 megawatts of generating capacity total. So when you see that 153 and 186, guys, you know you're not far away, and that's when you start having problems with rolling blackouts, transformers blowing, power stations overheating. We saw that here, again, 2 different times during that 2 weeks of misery. One storm blew a tree down across all of our power lines on our property. That had to be rebuilt. A week later, the main power station 5 miles south of here, burned. It caught on fire. Those big transformers that you see behind the chain link fences and all, that burned up. So they came in very quickly, worked great. We were with a company called Southern Pine, and their work was exceptional here in central Mississippi. But guys, you're going to have to be careful. Let's take a look at that map. Now, again, this is from PJM Interconnection. You can see what we're dealing with here in the Northeast, guys. All of this purple area is part of that heating problem, but this is where they're concerned about right here, these states. But anywhere close to this, coming out, again, here's Lake Michigan coming out of central U.S. to the Northeast. You can see New York here in the orange. You're going to have to watch it today. Now, what we did on our local Facebook page for the community back then was we talked about what things like this, and everybody turn off every light in your home you don't need. Don't cook with your oven. Try not to cook with your stove today. Try to eat sandwiches and cold cuts and things like that. Just try not to get into your 222 deep. Wait till tonight to wash clothes or dry them with a 220 clothes dryer. Everything you can think of in your area. And if you're not in that area but you have friends or family in there, make sure they're aware of this video. Plus, if everybody works together, then you may prevent the rolling blackouts or a major blackout caused by power failure. Now, I know everyone's not going to do it, but maybe just every household that gets with this project, as far as turning down everything, you're going to add to the capability for PJM to continue providing you electricity. Now, this power mix of the grid, that's what we're looking at. It shows natural gas, coal, and nuclear are doing most of the heavy lifting as of 0600 Eastern Time. Power prices across the grid appear normal, and that's good. You can look on the right side there and see the prices. Now, a question. Guys, you remember a couple of years ago when we had the ice storm that came through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi? We were without power for 3 or 4 days. We had to break ice off the steps an inch or 2 inches deep. And the power company in Texas, their rates skyrocketed. But I never heard how much that reflected down to your individual power bills. If you remember that, let us know, because it's information that everyone can look at and share and wrap their mind around, because that could be what's coming nationwide if we're not careful. Let's take a look at the Atlantic a moment. This is the 7-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center down in Miami, Florida. Got a 40% chance of development of the storm that's come off of Africa. Notice the 2 storms that were out in front of it are no longer listed. One is the remnants that you're going to see come into Florida, and the other one is a system in the Caribbean, doesn't look that strong. But here you've got a 40% chance of cyclone formation in 7 days. Tropical wave is located several hundred miles to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Conditions are expected to be favorable for gradual development of the system later this week, and a tropical depression could form over the weekend or early next week while it moves westward to northwestward over the tropical Atlantic. Guys, we've had no major storms. The Atlantic has broken possibly record temperatures this year already. And down in Miami, or south of Miami, as you come across, again, going out to the Keys, you've got Manatee Bay on your left on that bridge, and there were a buoy there from NOAA and part of the Everglades National Park Service that reached 101.1 degrees a few days ago. The record was 99.7 in the outside of Kuwait. Now, that's a hot area, desert area. But down in Florida, a lot of times, guys, your water is going to be, 80, 85, 90 this time of the year. And so we're talking about 10 degrees plus warmer than normal. Plus, above 80, you start having problems with your coral reefs, and now you're seeing a lot of bleaching because of that. How will that affect these storms? It won't be positive, that's for sure. It's going to increase the strength and the power of them. We hope that a system like this that has a slight curve to the north, headed towards the northeastern U.S., would do a big rotation along the coast, come back out, and dissipate a tremendous amount of heat back into the upper atmosphere. The hurricanes are what keeps this earth from overheating. Let's take a look at this article. It says, like a hot tub, water temps off Florida soar over 100 degrees, stunning experts. A buoy near Manatee Bay recorded an astounding 101.1 degree water temp Monday, a temperature common for hot tubs. It says on Monday, as much as of the country stewed and bubbling heat, a boiling milestone was hit. A buoy in Florida registered a jaw-dropping 101.1 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature. The day before, it was 100.2 degrees. That was on Sunday. And again, for perspective, the average hot tub temp is 100 to 102 degrees. While the readings would have been considered a possible outlier of a sensor area, in other words, problems with that buoy, surrounding buoys recorded similar high temps with 99.3 at Murray Key and 98.4 at Johnson Key. And guys, they say they're concerned because they've been tracking this weather, and we saw the high pressure set up and not moved. They call it a stagnant system. Said the pattern also led to weaker than average trade winds. Trade winds usually produce southeast winds and sea breeze for South Florida. It says which helps to keep the surface temperatures in check. Instead, winds have been out of the west and weak, allowing sea surface temperatures to heat up. Still, despite a month of record-setting water temps already in the history books, Sunday and Monday's 100-degree water temps readings have stunned the experts. These water temperatures recorded Sunday and Monday would challenge the record for hottest sea surface temperatures in the world. While official world water temperature records aren't kept, a 99.7 degree temperature recorded in Kuwait Bay is considered the world record at this time. Due to factors like proximity to land and the silty nature of the water, the temperatures recorded off Florida would have to go through an extensive verification process. In other words, it's shallow. Manatee Bay is shallow, and it's silty. So the darker the water, the more heat it absorbs, just like paint. White paint reflects it, black paint or brown paint absorbs the heat. So they're going to go through there and check it. But let's take a look at that buoy itself. And this is what we're looking at. Again, this link is on our website for all the buoys around the world. But notice the map in the top right. Manatee Bay has one buoy. It's just outside of Barnes Sound. The orange line is the road that comes from the mainland out to Key Largo and goes south to Key West. The number, if you look it up, is MNBF1. That means Manatee Bay, Florida, Buoy 1. But again, there's only one, so it should be easy. But if you look right here in the red, this was the water temperature. This was 7/24/23 at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 101.1 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see how the temp led up through that day. At 5 p.m. it was 100 degrees right there. So again, you can look this up. Just go to the National Data Buoy Center that's on our website, BPearthWatch. On the links on the left, bottom right almost, and you can pull up any of the buoys. It's cooled down now because that temperature has decreased over the south east. But guys, that's what we're dealing with, and if we get into some hurricanes, we got this temperature close to land, then you know that it's warmer out further into the ocean. Not this hot because it gets deeper, but you're also going to be crossing what's called the Gulf Stream, which is a warmer stream of water that moves north along that east coast coming out of the Gulf of Mexico itself. But I just wanted to bring this up, guys. With that storm, we've got 40% chance of development in the Atlantic. We've got to pay very close attention to this, especially with the heat we're seeing set up all along the northeast shore. But water temperatures far out into the Atlantic are much warmer than normal. I've heard people say that down along the Keys, the water temperature usually will stay around 80 degrees, something like that, where it's not so hot. It's a little cooler than a lot of places, but not right now. We're seeing, again, I think they were correct, this devastating high-pressure area that set up and cooked the southeast brought that temperature up. We can hope for it to cool down some before the hurricane season really gets kicked in, which we're already 2 months into. Almost starts in June. Here we are near the end of July. If we get any storms, they're going to be large and powerful. Whether they will be coming ashore, we don't know. And I said earlier, it would be the best scenario for them to come to close to shore, stay out in the ocean, and get all of that heat into the upper atmosphere and let it cool, and that cools the planet. But guys, we're watching this. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.